Today I'm making a set of lockpick tools. For the picks, I'm using some bristles from a street sweeper I found, made from a hardened steel which makes these picks flexible but sturdy enough to work a lock. I put the working end of the pick into a set of vice grips and begin to shape the end using a file. I'm giving this pick an S shape, so I start by filing one of the corners. I work the material with the file, giving it a slight curve. I remove the pick to inspect the progress as I go. At this point, I reposition the vice grip and I begin to file my additional grooves. As I continue, I'm creating a series of alternating grooves. I continue to inspect the shape as I go. I use a smaller file as I fine-tune some of the curves. I continue with this method until the end of the pick begins to take shape. The working end now has the basic S shape. To assure my pick's going to work properly, I take some emery cloth and I smooth out all the imperfections. This will allow the pick to slide smoothly across the pins. Now the pick has a finished working end. Using popsicle sticks for the base of my handle and leaving 2.5 inches on the working end of my pick, I trim to an overall length of 7 inches. Holding firmly with the cutters, I snap off the excess. Before gluing, I check the alignment of all the parts. Using a hot glue gun, I lay a small, thin bead in the center. I then lay the pick into the glue and press firmly. Once the glue sets, I apply a second bead of hot glue and position the second half of the handle. Epoxy or other type of glues may be used, but may change curing times. I then fill the additional voids on one edge. Once set, I turn the handle and fill the void on the other side. Once all the glue has set, I trim the excess with a knife. Here's a second pick I made with the rake style end, and I had wrapped its handle with electrical tape. To finish off the handle of the new pick, I've chosen to wrap it with the heat shrink material. Keeping the flame away from my hands, I direct the heat to shrink the material. Once the material cools, this new lockpick is finished. I decided to add a piece of heat shrink to my second pick. I use one of the steel bristles to create a tensioner. I place the bristle in the vice grips, then using a butane torch, I apply heat approximately 1 inch from the end. As it heats, I bend to 90 degrees. I use a slow and steady pressure so I don't break the steel. Keeping the bend hot, I quickly cool with gear oil. This helps to keep the temper of the steel. I use the same method of heat forming to form a quarter twist in the steel. This will allow some flex when tensioning a lock. Again, keeping the bend hot, I quickly cool with gear oil. I can now check if my tension bar functions properly. Next, I trim the tension bar to 7 inches in the same manner as the pick. Now that these lockpick tools are finished, I can put them to the test. I place the tensioner into this medium security lock at the opposite side of the pins. Then I place the pick along the pins. Working the pick, I use a combination of motions. I work the pick rapidly back and forth, also using a rocking motion. During this process, I use varying amounts of light to medium pressure on the tensioner. Eventually, the pins align and the lock opens. Remember to keep things legal, and thanks for watching.